Mr. Toastmaster. Greetings, partner. Well, we've all done it, haven't we? We've been attacked by either our loved one, a coworker, a child, and we act out in defense of ourselves. And how many times have you walked away from rationalizing your behavior, from counterattacking, from withdrawing when we're being attacked, and saying, gosh darn it, I did it again. I didn't respond the way I wanted to. And why do we do that? I think it's mostly because we want to defend ourselves, to show the other person that we're not wrong, right? We're not wrong. And we want, in the end, we all just want to be loved. Now, today is Valentine's Day, and I have a Valentine for an hour. We won't tell your wife, okay? But he's not so pleased with me, as it turns out. As they never are.
Oh, it's always the same on Valentine's Day. Nothing but disappointment. I just want it to work for me one time. I want to feel love. I want it to be a day I look forward to because it's perfect, not a disappointment waiting to happen. It seems like it's an afterthought for you. Sometimes you pass it all together with that excuse. It's just a Hallmark holiday, honey. I like to love you every day of the year. That'd be fine if it were actually true and there was some romance in there. One year, you took a picture of some candy hearts and text messaged that to me. How was that a Valentine's? Another year, you bought some flowers and died the very next day. And one year, you just dismissed it altogether. You were out of town on a business trip. You acted like it didn't even happen.
Okay, so while I did have a smirk on my face during that, but it was just to get warmed up for this conversation that we're about to have. So if you break it down, which I'll have Skate do, is break it down into each sentence. And I'll talk about what we normally do when we're being defensive and how we could alter that, transform it into something that is non-defensive, especially for our loved one, because he's hurting, isn't he? He's angry. He feels like I've done him wrong. He's upset. So we're going to break that conversation down.
It's always the same on Valentine's Day. Nothing but disappointment.
Now at this point, I might withdraw. I might think, here it comes again. And I might just get up and walk out of the room. I've had that happen before. Anyone else has had that happen to them? Has anyone else done that before to their partner? Another sign of withdrawal is looking down at the cell phone, starting to text or read our emails. Sometimes it's easier just to withdraw and get away with it. Then it goes away and we don't have to deal. But what I might do in this case is I might lean towards my loving partner and listen. Listening is really the first thing, and sometimes we're so taken up with defending ourselves that we don't even listen. So I'm going to listen to my partner. I'm going to establish eye contact. I'm not going to have a smirk on my face as much as I want to, and I'm going to listen.
I just want it to work for me one time. I want to feel love. I want it to be a day I look forward to because it's perfect, not a disappointment waiting to happen.
Here, if I were being defensive, I might counterattack. I might say, well, you know what, dear? How about you? How about making it work for me one time? When was the last time you did anything for me on Valentine's Day? But in the new, enlightened, non-defensive me, I would acknowledge him. We really just, in life, want to be acknowledged, don't we? By just about anyone we come in contact with. So I might do that by saying, dear. I've never called anyone dear, by the way. It just seems fitting for him. Dear, I hear you. You want it to work for you one time. How can I make it work for you? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what would make you feel like Valentine's was the best day of the year for you. Okay, next.
It seems like it's an afterthought for you. Sometimes you pass it off altogether with that excuse you always use. It's just a Hallmark holiday, honey. I'd like to love you every day of the year. Which would be fine if there was actually some romance the rest of the year.
At this point, I might rationalize. Well, it is just a Hallmark holiday after all, dear. I mean, it's ridiculous the way the whole day is commercialized to the nth degree. You can't go anywhere without feeling guilt about Valentine's Day. There are hearts here. You go to Whole Foods, heart cheesecakes. You go into Smith's, and there is the rack of Valentine's Day cards and the tables full of flowers. I mean, it's all about someone making money. It's not really about romance. And besides, you know, I took you out to dinner just last month, as a matter of fact. I lit a candle at our table when we had dinner the other night. So I might rationalize. But I also might ask him questions. How does it make you feel? I love that one. That's so cliche. But really, you know, what can I do to make it better? And, you know, maybe there's more to this than just Valentine's Day. Are there things that I'm doing the rest of the year? Are there other things that I'm coming up short on? And you know what? Apologizing. How about just apologizing? Because that acknowledges it for someone else. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're right, because certainly he's not right. But, you know, just apologizing. I am really sorry that you feel that way. How can we make it better? What else have I been coming up short on? Okay?
One year, you took a picture of some candy hearts and text messaged that to me. Another year, you bought some flowers that died the very next day.
Again, I might counterattack. Well, what about you? What did you do for me? Remember the time that you made a dinner reservation for us on Valentine's Day and we got there and they said you never called? I was pretty sure you were lying about that. So that might be a counterattack. But again, we really just want to be, understood. And I think that the whole responding non-defensively can be helped if we agree with those parts that are the truth. And sometimes you can diffuse the conversation by sort of laughing at yourself and admitting to the parts that are the truth. So what he said was, what did you say I did? That I bought some flowers that died?
I love that. Took a picture of some candy hearts. I'm going to use that, by the way.
Which I love. I've actually had that done to me, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. But see, some people, that would be coming up short. You know, it wouldn't be creative. And so I could acknowledge it right here by saying, you know, you are so right. That year, I completely forgot. And at the last minute, we weren't together that night because I was away on that business trip, remember? And I thought of what I could do that would be creative. And I'm really sorry that you didn't think it was creative. And I agree, that was lame. A picture of candy hearts and texting it to you, that was lame. Okay, I think I've had enough browbeating at this point, partner, dear. So thank you for being my Valentine for an hour. And everyone, a nice round of applause for Stan. So Valentine's Day is a really great day to practice diffusing verbal criticism. So think about the ways that you respond as you go throughout your day, either to your lover or to your coworker or to your child or whoever you come in contact with. Think about the way that you respond. Do you rationalize your actions? Do you counterattack? Try to make them feel less as you're feeling less? Or do we just simply withdraw and walk away? I had a famous relationship with someone who, whenever I would bring something up, he did this with his hand. It was always this thing. Do we do that? That's part of withdrawing. And how can we acknowledge the other person? It's awful. How can we acknowledge the other person by making them feel heard, ask them questions, listen with an open heart, agree with the parts that they're right about? So let's think about that as we go through this day, that it has enveloped us all in an amorous feeling of love. Mr. Toastmaster.